Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi.
We're here for week 3 of Gunfire Reborn. I get the title right? Yep, because I can never remember. Gunfire Reborn. The very memorable Gunfire. I gotta be honest with you, Moon. Struggling with this game. Struggling to find the want
Rhythm, the
to play
feel,
this game.
the desire.
Yeah,
Same.
It's such a tough one because I like this game. I think it's good. It's well made.
I can tell you exactly what I think the issue is.
Sure.
It's generic as hell.
I mean, that's not unfair.
Like it controls fine, it shoots fine, minus the speed issues, which we talked about. No sprint is a problem. No melee attack, also a problem.
Yep.
It plays fine, it controls fine. It's got a decent little progression system, but there is nothing in there that's hooking me in. Nothing that's like cool. I'm not a like Dead by Daylight COD player. So like I'm not the person who sits there and constantly plays COD every day of the year. So I don't first person shooters are whatever to me. Like it controls like everything else. So it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I'm struggling with. It's tough because one of those games that I like, and I think it's well made, and I see why it's popular, and it's not one of those games where I play it and I'm like, what are you all thinking? Like, why do you love this thing? Like, I get it. I understand it. I just don't want to keep playing it regularly. It's just yeah, I know it's going to be one of those games that I don't give a super fair shake to, and I do feel guilty about that. But like, I'm at the point in these runs where, you know how you can shoot the wall on the symbols and open up the vaults and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing those anymore because I don't feel like the rewards are really worth it. It sort of feels like the longer that Binding of Isaac is being developed, the less worthwhile the secret rooms are in that game. Where sometimes like I scrounge around for one single bomb and I bomb this wall and it's a secret room and there's literally nothing in it. Thank you so much. And you fight through one of these big secret rooms that has a ton of enemies and a boss at the end, which I think is a cool idea. Or you go through a room with a bunch of traps in it and stuff like that. And then you open up a chest at the end, and it's the same thing you're getting from a chest in a normal room. So, like, if you compare that to something like Rogue Legacy 2, where you have to play this one of those nightmare rooms where it's like, get to the end of this traversal puzzle without getting hit, and you get something really good. So even if you fail, you should still give it a shot, because you still have a chance of getting something good. Or like, defeat 40 enemies in this room and you'll get something good. That's great. I'll do that. But if I'm going to defeat 40 enemies and you give me 2 coins, it's like, well, I'm just not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. Not even talking about the elites that are in those rooms.
Which is a cool idea. Like, I like the idea of fighting a couple of waves of enemies and then fighting an elite, like a real big, almost boss-type enemy. But then for doing all that, I get like another one of those pickups out of a chest. It's like, I could have done without one of them. So.
Yep. So, have you beat the worm boss yet?
The desert one? Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, that next level is just a nightmare level. I got one-shotted in that next level.
The like ancient China level with all the like
underwater stuff.
The yokai ones and the shipwrecks and stuff. That place is rough.
I literally got one shot. I was like, how on earth am I supposed to do this? And I crushed that sandworm like he was nothing. Like like 4 seconds and he was done, kind of crushed.
The only way I made it through that level was using the Big Hippo, the minigun
The minigun, yeah.
And I had one that had, every time I get there, I have one of those that has increased range, or like increased accuracy. So I can kind of use that thing as a sniper rifle that has 400 rounds in it. So that's about all I can do. But every time I get up to that boss, I just get one shot by it. So I don't. That is another thing that feels pretty frustrating about this game, is getting to a new area and being like, oh man, that's a cool looking area. We got a ton of new enemies. Whoops, I literally got one shot out of my shield and health by like a desert coyote. So
Yep.
that doesn't, I saw half of the first room and now my run is over. So
is this the early access bug back to haunt us again?
I don't think so. I feel like that's what I was trying to think of this week. But to me, I think it falls into that trap of the difficulty ramp between zones. Where, like, yeah, sure, the third zone needs to be more difficult than the second zone, but I feel like the difficulty needs to ramp up throughout the zone. It doesn't need to just go 12 feet up a cliff for zone 3 and then ramp from there. Like, the ramp needs to continue to go smoothly from area to area throughout. And I'm sure if I would invest more points into my skill tree and like get more health and get more armor and get more damage resist and
my
stuff.
health is like almost capped out, dude, and I'm still getting worked by these things.
And that's my problem, is the upgrades in the skill tree feel impactful on paper, but then you get to a new area and it's like, yeah, you're not ready for this at all. It's like, yeah, but I have invested a considerable amount of points in my skill tree, and I'm, a couple of tiers down, and I have a ton of points in each tier. So what am I missing? What is the gap here between? Because sometimes the thing that I like about roguelikes is sometimes you'll have that one run early in a game and you're like, I'm in zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, let's go. I shouldn't even be here and I'm doing great. And you get smacked down at some point because you don't have the game knowledge or the thumb skill or the metagame investment to be there. And that's fine because you're like, man, I can't wait until I get my revenge on all this stuff that I shouldn't have been fighting. But I shouldn't be beating the worm boss and be in zone 3 and the game's just middle fingers like running at you, one-shotting you. Like that doesn't that doesn't feel very rewarding.
It feels punishing on so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. And how am I supposed to learn the enemy like patterns and attacks and all that stuff?
The attacks,
if I'm getting one shot, like I just. It is a very frustrating experience that it feels hard to pin down what the problem is, because I think, like we've talked about throughout the history of the show, we have found the early access problem of just like, I'm playing this game for 4 years in early access. It's so easy. Oh man, when is this game going to be difficult again? And I don't blame the developers for keeping the early access peeps happy by turning up the dials, but then when we come and play this game, a game like this on the show, we get smacked down immediately. It's like, wow, what is this impossible video game you have crafted? I don't think it feels like that. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I don't know if it feels like that in this case for me.
It didn't feel like that in the first 2 zones, but that third zone is just like an unbelievable jump. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, I just don't know.
One of my bigger problems with that third zone too is there's a couple of rooms in there that are like on ground rooms, like kind of like the rest of the first 2 areas. But there are a bunch of them where you're out in the water on a shipwreck, and enemies are jumping from lower levels of the shipwreck onto a deck that you're on, so they're kind of jumping up onto the level you're at from below, from like 4 or 5 different areas. So you kind of have all these little enemies coming at you from every angle, and you have a bunch of stuff throwing magic and arrows and things at you from very far away. So it immediately feels... Some of the rooms feel okay, but it immediately feels pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. It has its moments where it's just like, really, you just gonna just do this to me? Like, the one revive thing as well is like I said, I think I said last episode, I make stupid mistakes. I'll stand next to an explosive barrel and get shot and killed.
100%.
And I'll do that in zone 1, and then before I realize it, I'm having a hell of a run. I'm like, well, I ain't got no revives left.
Right. Yeah, I this week I played a bunch, and I had one really good run where I made it, I think 2, that desert worm boss, and I got destroyed by it. And I was like, all right, cool. I have like 100 something of the whatever the currency is to spend on your skill tree. And I was like, I've saw that the last 2 or 3 or whatever characters, you need to spend that currency to unlock those. Let me go buy one of them, because I have like 150 or something. The first one is like 400 to unlock a new character, and I think the other one is 600 or something. I'm like, I'm not gonna unlock these characters at this point. Like, I'm closer to unlocking the next one at like skill tree level 40 or something, because I'm 35 or 37 or something, than I am getting the currency to unlock one of the other ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's odd.
That's my reaction to this game is, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's literally how I feel when I'm playing it. It's just like, I don't know.
I'm glad we're playing it, especially since it's been so well received. And I'm definitely going to, continue to give it the old college try here on our final week next week. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
It's curious. It's curious how this is going to go over. Like you said, it's the... And I don't mean to use the word generic as an insult to this game, but that's how it feels when I'm playing it. It's like, my guy, I've got to be grounded. I've got to finish Jedi Survivor. I've got all these other games on my plate. Game Pass is releasing 7 new games a week, it feels like. And like,
Starfield is coming out this week. Like,
literally Starfield is out. And it's
right.
Like,
so like,
I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah. It's really tough.
I want to pick up half-eaten sandwiches, not,
right.
Make it 2 zones into a dungeon, then die immediately.
It's 2023 has been a really great game for a great year for games, kind of overall, no matter what you like. So playing a game that is fine is a little rough this year, and like we said again, fairly or unfairly, Atomic Crops was really good and came out of nowhere. So it's a tough act to follow,
Like, and that was a game that just captured us both.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, I'm confident in saying, like, so much so that I recommended it to a friend of the show, Rob, and he's like beat year 10 with a whole bunch of stuff in it. And it's like, I haven't played it since then because I don't have the time. I'm pulling 60-hour work weeks here.
Right.
Minor spoiler alert, but I messed up on Critical Misses recording, and now we have to do things even more out of schedule, because of my mistake. And it's like, oh,
yeah, it's a rough year. It's a rough year for games that are fine, and Gunfire Reborn is fine. Yeah. Well, on that super promising note, thank you for listening to this episode. We'll see you all next run. Bye.
Bye.